Hello, listeners. Welcome back to another Ask Me Anything episode of the Untethering Shame podcast. Today's question hits on something so many of us deal with, especially if you work in a service role, maybe healthcare, teaching, management, honestly, really any environment where emotions run high, which in this day and age seems like it's anywhere you go. You know, it's that question of how do I not take it personally when someone yells at me, even when I know it wasn't about me? So here's what our listener wrote. I work in a job where I'm constantly being yelled at, not because I've done something wrong, but because I'm the one in front of people when things go wrong. Logically, I know it isn't personal, but it's still hard not to take it that way. I feel both bad for them and angry, like, stop being a dick. How do I reconcile this? How do I stop internalizing it while still holding boundaries and not becoming hardened or detached in my job? Now, I love this question because it sits at that intersection of empathy, shame, and boundaries, where your nervous system, your self-worth, and your sense of professionalism all collide. So let's start with what's really happening here. When someone yells, even if you know it's not your fault, your body is still experiencing a threat. Your nervous system doesn't pause to analyze, why is this person upset? It's just detecting danger. Your heart rate spikes, your stomach drops, your muscles tense, and your shame response, boom, lights up. That's because shame's job is to protect you. It's whispering in the background. What did I do wrong? How can I fix this? How did I miss this? This is on me. Now, this is a survival strategy, one that once kept you safe in conflict, particularly when we've talked about that inner child dynamic and the ways in which we had to adapt to unhealthy situations back during our early times in life. But now these strategies are keeping us emotionally exhausted and constantly putting ourselves on the hook for things that aren't ours. So even when your brain is saying, this isn't about me, your body, your shame is saying, stay small so that this stops. This is you. You're the problem. So to shift this pattern, we need to use a little bit of logic and some somatic awareness. So here's what we're going to do. First, name what's yours and what's not. After an encounter like this, take a breath and say to yourself, out loud if you can, their emotions are not my responsibility. Visualize handing back a heavy backpack that was never yours to carry. This helps your body release what it's holding. Second, create a reset ritual. You don't have to carry that energy with you. Step outside, stretch, shake out your hands, or take 30 seconds of deep breathing. Do something that helps tell your body, I'm safe now. 3, set clear boundaries, both internally and externally. On an internal note, I want you to remind yourself that caring doesn't mean carrying. You can care that someone's upset without absorbing it. Now, on an external point, I want you to think about how we can use calm language while still being very firm and clear. So it might be saying something to the effect of, I want to help resolve this. I can't do that while I'm being yelled at. Or I'm going to step away for a moment and come back when we're in a position we can talk and work collaboratively. Boundaries, particularly in instances like this, help protect your dignity without escalating a situation. They also help provide an invitation to the other party to say, I want to help you. I want to hold out my hand. Here's what I'm asking for from you, to create buy-in from both parties. Now, fourth, we need to honor our anger. That feeling you have of stop being a dick to me, or why are you such an ass? That's your boundary saying, enough. Now, in these moments, you're not wrong to feel angry. You're human. Anger is a cue that something or someone crossed a line, particularly the lines of what you will and won't tolerate. The key is for us to honor where that anger is showing up, how it is showing up, and not become reactive to it because we're not giving space to feel it and move past it. And finally, I want you to remember that empathy is not the same as responsibility. You can understand that someone is scared or frustrated without believing it's your job to absorb their pain. Compassion doesn't require self-abandonment. Now, in all of this, what I'm essentially inviting you to do is to think about in the moment and after how to help refile our nervous system. So when we think about this, a lot of times when we've experienced something, our brain codes it as a threat, not a threat, safe, unsafe, and there's a file that's created and a pathway that the brain takes in response. Every time then that we're being yelled at, that same pathway can get activated, which can make us get small, make us get defensive and maybe push back, be angry and frustrated. So what we're doing here is we're trying to recognize what's in our control and what's our responsibility and what isn't. And we're helping bring both some awareness to our body and to our brain and creating some of those resets. Now, this is not going to be easy, and often you're still going to find yourself wanting to be reactive, either by getting bigger or smaller. One thing I really try to remind myself, even if I forget all 5 of these pieces, is that my breath is the most powerful tool that is with me in these moments. So before I say anything, before I start to get lost in my thoughts and my responses, I use my breathing to help recenter myself. And when I can, and again, not every time am I able to do this, I remind myself my only power is in how I show up. And so really thinking about the person I want to be in these moments to leverage the power that I have to protect myself and also to protect this entire interaction, to allow for the possibility of an outcome where both parties can feel seen, safe, and heard. Now, before we close, I'm going to leave you with just a few reminders. I know we've said a lot here. So if you're in your car, you're on a walk, I want you to take a deep breath here with me. And I want you to remember, your body reacts before your logic does. So even when you know it's not about you, even when we know we're fine, our nervous system has already flinched. That doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're human. And the system that is designed to keep you safe is working as it's supposed to. Second, boundaries protect our dignity. So saying things like, I won't be yelled at, isn't unkind. It's not combative. It's a matter of self-respect and an invitation to work collaboratively with somebody else. Next, you can care without carrying. Remember, empathy is not the same as emotional labor. Anger can be informative. So when you feel it, check in. It may be your boundaries speaking up to try to protect you. The key here is to allow yourself to be curious about it and to make space for it so we don't end up being consumed by it. And finally, those reset rituals matter. Small pauses help your body release what's not yours to hold. And while those breaths can be helpful in the moment, for many of us, they're not going to be accessible right away. So bringing in those resets after these experiences is incredibly important. So if you take nothing else away from this episode, I want you to remember, you don't have to armor up to survive your job. You're simply working to stop confusing other people's pain, distress, frustration for your purpose and responsibility. Now, if this topic hits home with you, I've linked some resources in the show notes below, including a few past episodes where we've talked about boundaries and really honoring what's ours and what isn't to focus on emotion regulation and resilience at work, as well as a link to sign up for my upcoming free email series, Boundaried and Brave, where we're going to be doing 5 days of getting a little bit deeper into understanding what boundaries are and how they can work for each of us individually. Because the goal isn't to stop feeling. It's to stop taking responsibility for feelings that don't belong to us. As always, I'm going to see you back here next week. Make sure you are commenting below with anything that is coming up for you here, stuck points, ahas, next steps, and of course, share this episode with someone you think could benefit from hearing it. I'll see you all for our next episode.